Okay, today we're going to talk about entering data directly into Google Sheets. There are a lot of ways to get data into Google Sheets, from forms to automation to copying and pasting to importing data, all sorts of ways. The most obvious and common is I'm just in a sheet. I just click on a cell and I just start typing. Right? You can type numbers and letters in whatever format you want. So obviously that can be good and bad. In some ways it's great because it's the easiest way to do it. You can just jump on that, you can start typing, nothing to stop you. It also has some risks, obviously, because when you just let people edit sheets, they can make typos, they can type in places they don't even realize they're typing in, whether they're waiting for the sheet to load and they just start typing letters that appear somewhere, they type over something, or they're just not really paying attention, because obviously when you're working with data, it's easy to make little typos and little mistakes. So if you do want to enter data into Sheets, which everyone does and there's really no way around, you should think about ways to make that easier and make it harder to make mistakes. One of the most obvious, as you can see here, is just make the cells that you want people to be editing a certain formatting. So in this case, people know, and you can even write a rule here, edit only yellow cells, right? That's one way to do it. And then people know, okay, I'm only going to touch these cells. Now there are other things that can make it even better if you want to really protect certain ranges. And we can start with a protected range. So let's say I want to protect this range, let's say the entire column. I select the cells, I do data, protected sheets and ranges. I already have my range selected. I can say IDs do not touch, just to name that range so people know. And then I can set permissions, and I can either show a warning when editing, or I can say restrict to only certain people. So really simple, really good way to make it hard for people to make mistakes. Ensure that no one touches a column that people shouldn't touch. There are obviously a lot of other ways to do this easily also, such as copying and pasting, right? Let's say that, just as an example, I want to grab this word. If you double click on a word up here, Command C, and let's say I just want to paste it here, Command V. So copying and pasting, super simple, super easy, a great way to avoid typos, avoid mistakes. Keep that in mind when you're entering data into Sheets. You should copy and paste when you can. It's, again, just a nice technique to reduce errors. Then you also have data validation, which is a really powerful tool when you are doing data entry to ensure data fits a certain format. It can be from a drop-down menu, as in these cases. You can see you can just click on the cell, press enter, the drop-down comes down. You can start typing. You can click the arrow. So those are drop-down menus. You can also have other rules, such as make sure it's a number, and if it's not a number, you can say, have a warning and say input must be a number between 0 and 20, or it can be a date. So let's say right here, let's just say these cells, obviously it's not a whole column, but let's say these cells, we want to be only a number. I can select those cells, data, data validation, and right here I can choose whatever I want. In this case, I already have the cell range selected. I could change it here if I wanted to. I'm going to say I want it to be a number between 1 and 100. You can either reject the input, which means it won't let someone put data in there, or you can show a warning. And you can have custom validation text if you want. Here it tells you what it could be. You can change that to whatever you wanted it to be. And then you can click Save. So that's how you set up all these validations. Another example, let's say right here, we want to require you select from a range. So let's say we do again data, data validation, list from a range. I'm now going to choose my range. So I'm going to go to a sheet over here. Let's say right here I wanted them to choose from this column of data. I'm going to go to the first row, hold shift command arrow down to get to the last row. I'm going to hold shift and tap arrow down a few more times just in case I add any more to that. And I'll click OK. So now this will be my selection that you will be choosing from. And if I add more items here later, it will pick up those also. So you can go as far down as you want, maybe even to the bottom of a column if you want to make sure that those get picked up. I'll show the drop down list in the cells so people can see what they're selecting from. I'm going to reject the input if it's wrong because I want it to match this no matter what. And I'm going to show the help text, please choose a category from the list. And I'll click Save. And so now if I go back to that sheet, you'll see it's there. I can press enter to choose from it. I can start typing, or I can click the arrow. And now there is no way to make a mistake. It will be capitalized properly. It will be spelled properly. It's a really good way to make sure the data is accurate in the way we want it to be. So it'll just make the data worth more, because then when you're doing analysis later, it will be accurate. So you'll be able to take action on the data and do whatever you want with the data. Thanks.